I'm wearing my fire outfit. By the firefighters after I passed a very famous bill called the 9/11 James and Droga Health and Compensation Bill. And this took us 15 years to pass it, believe it or not. Something that was needed. They were there for us. We had to be there for them. And I passed it. And part of it, we made the health care was made permanent in 2015. And we had the Victims Compensation Fund expires in 2020. So they are running out of a lot of money now because now the cancers are coming and people are really getting sick. So the compensation that they were receiving because they can't work and because they're sick was not enough. So we put in a bill to extend it, to replenish it, and to try to make it permanent. And I can't tell you how nice it is to have a Democratic majority in Washington. Back candidates, you back Democrats here, you backed them all over the city, the state, and even some of you went into other states. It made a big difference, and it's thrilling that we have a Democratic majority. We passed a ton of bills, you know, H.R. 1, massive bill on reforming government, net neutrality, we passed the bill on the Violence Against Women Act, and credit card, I'm working on the credit card bill of rights, the extension of it, the Voter Act, but there's so many bills, and this would never happen without a Democratic majority. But probably more important than anything, for the first time we've been able to practice oversight. So for the first 2 years there was no oversight. They controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So we've been fighting to put forward oversight. Personally, I think that we are headed to a constitutional showdown. I think that they are refusing to do anything and everything. As you know, the Mueller report was very narrow. It was only focused on the Russians and the Russian influence. They pointed out a lot of other things that needed to be done. There are 6 extensive investigations that are taking place now, and in Congress they're not cooperating with any of them, and there are several that are taking place in district courts around the country. They are on one committee that I serve, the Government Reform and Oversight Committee. We've asked for 50 different documents, 50 different troves of information. They refuse to provide any of it, and so we will be subpoenaing it. We had the first contempt of Congress vote in many, many years, and that was in Gerald Nadler's committee, but I think there'll be a lot of them, because they not only are not providing any documentation, they've decided that none of the people serving in the White House should even be required to go and show up and testify. So it's going to go to a constitutional crisis, I think, because they're just not cooperating. And how can you practice oversight if you don't get any documents, right? So I think there'll be a number of contempt charges. I think we'll put them all together in one vote on the floor, and it'll be a challenge with tremendous ramifications if it goes to the Supreme Court and they don't rule that Congress can exercise oversight. We think we're solid on the law and how clear it is that we should be able to practice the oversight. And if they take that away from you, it would really change the whole shift of the balance of power, the checks and balances that we have. So I'm also party to, 7 of us are party to a suit on emoluments against the president, where we have alleged that he is making money off of his hotels and Mar-a-Lago and everything else, and asking for documentation on that. And we are going after his taxes, not only on the state level, they're trying to get information, but on the federal level, not only is Cummings suing to get the documentation from his accountant, and this is how crazy it is. The president is now suing Cummings personally, and then suing the accountant, saying that he can't hand over the documents. I think that when you get an official subpoena from the United States government, you're going to respond to it, I would think. But it's interesting times, let me tell you, it's interesting times. I keep waiting for the job to get easier, and I keep running into 9/11, the financial crisis, Sandy, you name it. And now we have just really, I think, a constitutional crisis on how we govern our country, and an intransient president who is just fighting us on everything that we're trying to do. But we just keep on doing it, and we're going to keep on doing it and passing good bills. And I can't tell you how exciting it is to have a Democratic majority and be able to do these things. We have a hearing in June on the 9/11 bill, legislative hearing. I believe we will be passing that in the House of Representatives this July. I'm so excited about it. And Schumer has vowed that he can get it through the Senate, which is it'll be another landmark piece of legislation. It's very important. I authored a bill that's been called the most important anti-rape legislation in history, called the Debbie Smith bill. It created with the FBI this centralized database on rapists and criminals, and uses the DNA, processes DNA rape kits. The DNA for the first time was used to convict a rapist. That bill will be passing soon. It's so exciting. All the things that we had to fight so hard for are now just whizzing through Congress. And we are working on all kinds of things. Probably my most famous bill was the Credit Card Bill of Rights that held credit cards accountable. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says that bill alone saves consumers anywhere from 16 to 20 billion, as in B, a year, and cracking down on their abusive, unfair, deceptive practices. And I'm introducing the sister or brother to it, the overdraft bill, another where they trick and deceive and get people paying more than they should. So that's another process that I'm involved in. The one that is coming up this week, there's a bill I've been working on since 9/11. The police, law enforcement came to me after 9/11 and said, we're concerned about other attacks, and if you can cut down on the terrorism attack financing, you can cut down on the terrorism. And so what my bill is called the Beneficial Ownership Bill. It's very, very important. And I think it'll probably be the most important bill that we pass out of the Financial Services Committee on which I serve. And it would require all these LLCs to disclose who owns the LLC. Law enforcement say they'll be extracting illegal money, and then they hit an LLC and they can't see anything. And if you go to 60 Minutes, they did a documentary on it. It's really damning. And we're trying to get Republican support, and we couldn't get it last week in the committee, so I put off voting on it, and I want to show this documentary. And I want all of you to see it too. You can get it on the websites. And they go to 13 attorneys, and they interview them. And this guy walks in and he says, oh, I'm representing a corrupt regime in Africa, and we have billions of dollars we want to hide. Do you want to help us? 12 out of 13 say yes. Whatever you do, don't go to a bank, because they know their customer and they'll find you. What you need to do is go into an LLC. It'll be impossible to find. You can hide your money. It's just really damning. And you should, when you ride around late at night, if you drive through my district on the east side, you'll see all these buildings, and there are no lights on. Right. No one lives there. You know, sometimes you'll see a whole building, there's nobody. Look at the plaza. No one lives in the plaza. They're basically bank accounts for people. They buy the property, it sits there. Then if you need some money, you can just sell the apartment, you've got the money. So it's a very serious bill. The Republicans so far have been opposed to it. They don't want the centralized information. They don't like this, they don't like that. But law enforcement wants it. And to me, I feel like if law enforcement wants it, let's give it to them. They're trying to protect us. I'll take a question, sure.
I just wanted to see that because as an international person myself, we are caught with FACTA. And what the FBI wants to do with those kind of bills that they're pushing, where you need to disclose everything, basically has an unintended consequence for poor people all around the world. There are many people who are unbanked because they cannot deal with their family in the United States with the FATCA, for example. Like France has closed many account holders because they're too afraid to do business with the United States. And because their residents over there are poor, I just bought an apartment last week in Peru. And I had to deal with $90,000 transfer from my 401k here to over there. And I had to go through tons of FATCA disclosure, my social security, that many poor people cannot go. And so I wanted to share that with you, as the unintended consequence of what the FBI is pushing forward is that it has consequence to people in Africa, to people in Asia, to people in South America who have family members here in the United States sending them money over there. That's what I wanted to share.
Do they have to disclose?
Yes.
They have to disclose who they're getting money from in
Yes.
the United States?
Yes, and my wife wanted, my wife wanted to send $3,000 versus to her mother through Western Union, and she came back pissed because Chase didn't want to give her the cash. Western Union was asking, where is you sending this money because you're sending $3,000, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And many banking institutions are scared shitless of dealing with the United States. And so they are applying more stringent rules than what they're supposed to apply just to be on the safe side. Not to, and the other day I got a call from a friend in Iran who told me, Theo, I just want to jump out of the building because of the Iran deal, because my business suddenly got stopped because of all those banking laws that the FBI wants to see here.
This is a very different situation.
No, it is, but it does affect.
The FATCA thing is something they put in place after 9/11 to try to attract money, and the Democrats have they brought that to my attention. They feel it's a very unfair law. I have written to Treasury to work on it. Maybe I can push to see if we can have some hearings and try to figure out how to make it work a little better for the common woman and man.
Please.
Anyway.
Congresswoman, I don't know how much time you have, but
I have plenty of time.
Okay,
Sorry to have taken.
Your meeting. By the way, I want to
We love having
congratulate.
you anytime.
Where's Josh? Is Josh here? Yeah. Is no. Okay.
Anyway, they're here sometimes, but not all the time. We have time for two more questions. So I saw Alyssa's hand up right away, so go ahead.
So I'm sure you've heard that New York is considering legislation to legalize recreational marijuana. What is the status now that we have Congress to potentially reschedule marijuana as a Schedule I to somewhere else and deal with the fact that it's going to be recreationally legal in many states, including potentially this state?
Well, has it passed in New York State? Not yet.
No.
Well, it's passed in Colorado, and we have a bill in. One of the big problems that they have with it is how do you bank it? And it's very, 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 very dangerous now in where it's legal. In some states, I think 22 states have legalized it so far, and it's very seriously being considered in New York. And how do you bank it has become the real stumbling block on it. We passed a bill out of the Financial Services Committee that would let states that have approved it bank it in that state, but it doesn't really solve the challenge of going from state to state or a federal role. But I think that's something we have to look at. It'll probably come through the committee on which I serve, and I believe that it will be eventually legalized in New York State and federally too.
Okay, and I saw Fred, or not Frank, sorry. Frank.
In view of today's tariff war, what would you like to see happen in Congress with the new NAFTA bill?
With the new NAFTA bill, I would say that there is a lot of support on the Democratic side. Even Schumer has come out in support of really putting tougher tariffs on the Chinese. They really haven't been fair partners to us, and we need to stand strong and get a better deal. Now, they have been renegotiating NAFTA and with both Mexico and with Canada. It hasn't been approved yet by the United States Congress. There's a lot of concern on the Democratic side, and I share it, particularly with the drug industry. The drug industry, one of our goals is to lower the cost of prescription drugs and to have more generic drugs and to really work better in that area. And in this particular bill, they're not doing that. So we're trying to get that changed. Where it ends up, it's a matter of negotiation that's being negotiated now. One of the main leaders in negotiating that on the Appropriations and Trade Committee is Rosa DeLaura. So we're trying to get that changed. I'm sure there are other things they're trying to change, but I think there's a general sentiment, if you can get a better treatment for the American worker, we're all for it. We want to bring jobs back to America. We want Americans to get work, and we want to bring the business back. You know, everybody's all upset about the increase in washing machines. Well, maybe, you know, I was just thinking I'll just go to the laundromat if my washing machine breaks. I'm not going to buy another one. Anyway, we'll see where it goes. Like anything, it's under negotiation. It's under discussion now, and you know, we certainly want to get better trade agreements for our workers and for our people, but we also want to make sure that drug companies don't get an unfair advantage on drugs and other things. So we're going to fight it in a lot of different areas, and it's under negotiation. It's under debate now. So we'll see.
Okay, thank you.